Hey folks, welcome to our channel. So, today let's talk about living in Fort Lauderdale. Okay, however, you know what? We're going to ditch the glossy brochures and the tourist guides, and we're going to do some real talk about what it's like to live in this coastal paradise. So, folks, have you ever wondered what daily life is truly like in Fort Lauderdale, Florida? Whether it's from the sun-dressed beaches to the bustling downtown, we're uncovering it all. But hold on tight, we're not stopping there. We're going to do a little deep dive into the nitty-gritty questions that matter the most. Things going for and against living in Fort Lauderdale. Is it a perfect fit for families, for singles, for retirees? Just kind of letting everybody know what's happening, what's going on. Okay, and you know what? Let's talk dollars and cents, because what the cost of living is like. Is it actually affordable? Plus, we're going to dish in some details about lifestyle vibes and kind of what's going on. Is Fort Lauderdale, is it fast-paced? Is it whirlwind? Is it laid back? So get ready for an insider's look into the real Fort Lauderdale lifestyle, where we're keeping it honest, informative, and always engaging. So folks, we're going to jump right into the things going for and against living in Fort Lauderdale. Going for, obviously, it's got to be what everybody comes down to Fort Lauderdale for. It's the beaches, okay? And there are some incredible beaches here in Fort Lauderdale. Actually, there's Fort Lauderdale Beach. It's probably the most famous beach, in the entire city, and it stretches along the entire Atlantic coastline, the entire limits of Fort Lauderdale. It's known for pristine white sand, got clear blue waters, and really picturesque palm trees. And there's a ton of amenities. There's a really, really wide variety of amenities, including public restrooms, showers, picnic areas, volleyball courts. At any given time during any day or night of the year, you can see a lot of activity happening at Fort Lauderdale Beach. And folks, it's just right across the street from numerous beachfront restaurants, bars, shops. There's a nearby promenade. It makes it a really, really vibrant, kind of a lively area where you can go shopping, you can go eating, and you can also kind of sit back and relax on the beach itself. Next one is one of our favorite beaches. It's Las Olas Beach, and it's located where else? Right off of world famous Las Olas Boulevard, the shopping and dining district that defines Fort Lauderdale. It's a little quieter than Fort Lauderdale Beach, a little more upscale atmosphere, if you will. It's really popular for sunbathing, for swimming, and for water sports like kayaking and paddleboarding. Okay, the beach, folks, is lined with luxury condos. Beachfront cafes. It's a little more laid back, a little more easygoing. Folks just kind of wander around, kind of find a place to hang out at the beach. And again, it's right across the street from some of the most luxurious condos in and around the Fort Lauderdale area. And the beach is generally open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. However, folks, I will tell you, we've seen it before, and there are stragglers down there. Big note about Las Olas Beach: no alcohol is allowed on the beach. As of this video, at least, there's no alcohol that's allowed on the beach. But it's very, very well regarded beach. It's clean sand, clear water. Okay, it gets a little happening around spring break. And folks, everybody knows what's going on in Fort Lauderdale spring break. Everybody comes down, hang out at one of our favorite places, the Elbow Room. Okay, but you know what, folks? There's a very, very prevalent police presence going on during most time. And alcohol and loud music are really not really permitted on the beach. One of the other ones that Suzanne and I just really, really love, and it's very relaxing and very laid back, it's the Hugh Taylor Birch State Park. Now, while technically not a beach per se, it offers a very unique coastal experience within Fort Lauderdale. It's a mile-long stretch of natural beachfront, and folks, it's going to stay this way. It can never change. It's the way Fort Lauderdale was many years ago, 50, 60 years ago, and it's kind of in between the Intercoastal Waterway to the west and the Atlantic Ocean to the east. Okay, has great swimming, great fishing, great picnicking. It's a little more secluded, a little more natural setting. There's a ton of hiking trails, so you can rent bicycles, you can take a guided kayak tour through the mangrove forest. Folks, it's truly a nature lover's paradise. And folks, these are just a few of the examples of the beautiful beaches here in Fort Lauderdale. Each offers its own little unique perspective and unique atmosphere and unique attractions for everything. Whether you're looking for a vibrant beachfront entertainment like Fort Lauderdale Beach, looking for a peaceful retreat in nature, kind of like Hugh Taylor Birch State Park, or you're looking for something to just kind of lay back and kind of kick back, Fort Lauderdale Beach has something for everybody. So folks, and as much as the beaches are a huge attraction down to Fort Lauderdale, the number one disincentive, or the number one thing against Fort Lauderdale is the cost. The cost of living in Fort Lauderdale, it is higher. There's no other way to say it. It costs money to live in paradise. It's about 20% higher than the rest of the state, and about 21% higher than the national average. Okay, housing is by far the most significant contributor to that. Housing in Fort Lauderdale, on the average, is about 60% more expensive than the rest of the country. I mean, and even the utilities, even though we have a lot of nice weather, we don't have those cold winters other places. It's still about 6% higher than the rest of the country. Okay, when it comes to the basic necessities such as food, clothing, groceries, entertainment, it's about 4% more in Fort Lauderdale, and clothing actually costs about 4% more. Okay, however, due to the preponderance of healthcare and medical facilities and hospitals and doctors, average checkups average about 5% less than the rest of the country. And at the same thing, there is an abundance of all kinds of healthcare and all kinds of medical facilities that you can get, and again, like I said, sometimes the non-essentials, if you will, the entertainment and kind of like, grooming services, getting your hair cut, getting your hair done. It's about 4% more in Fort Lauderdale than the rest of the country. So Fort Lauderdale is not an inexpensive place to live. So welcome to our channel, Living in Fort Lauderdale with Kevin Sues. As much as we love doing our videos, and we truly do, one of the things that we really love is helping folks out with any real estate related questions about anything going on here in South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, or any of the surrounding areas. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask us any questions. Give us a phone call, shoot us a little text, DM us, drop us a note, drop us a comment below, okay? And also you can click the link and set up a time where we can chat for about 45 minutes about all the questions that you may have. And with this market, with the way this market is right now, and things that are going on here in South Florida, and things that are going on more specifically in the Fort Lauderdale and surrounding areas, there's a lot of questions folks have. Please feel free to go ahead and reach out and let us know. If you would consider subscribing to our channel, hit the subscribe, okay? Hit the bell to get notified every time we drop a video. And please, if you like what we say, let us know. If you don't like what we say or don't agree with it, that's okay too. We want to hear from everybody. If you will, the for or the pro, number two, for Fort Lauderdale. I mean, folks, it's a boater's paradise. I mean, it's the extensive waterways. There's over 300 miles of canals and waterways in and around the Fort Lauderdale area. I mean, there's water activities in abundance, for residents and visitors alike. I mean, there's boat tours, there's boat cruises. Fort Lauderdale is actually referred to as the Venice of America due to the intricate network of canals and waterways. Boat tours and cruises are super, super popular. You just kind of see your way around Fort Lauderdale, get to know Fort Lauderdale. Honestly, we've been on the water taxi a number of times. There's really nothing like getting to see Fort Lauderdale from the water, so you can kind of see what's going on, you can see what's happening, okay? The other thing too is that Fort Lauderdale, in addition to being known as the Venice of America, it's actually known as the yachting capital of the world, and it's home to one of the largest concentrations of luxury yachts and marinas in the world. Okay, now there's a couple of events that really kind of solidify this. First and foremost is the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show. Every October, it's folks from all over the world, and you see some of the biggest and some of the grandest yachts. It's held every October, as I said, okay? And not only do the boats show up, but all of the organizations and all the companies and all of the, the whole entire boating sector and boating industry is there to show off all their wares and all the new things that are there. Exhibitors from around the globe show up to participate in presenting everything from yacht builders, designers. I mean, even exotic cars come in, yacht brokerages show up. Okay, there are thousands of attendees coming down. This is one of the things that we talk about a little bit later in, from the standpoint of a number of people coming down, that for that week in October, the concentration of folks in and around the Fort Lauderdale area goes up significantly. One of the other things that we really enjoy, and this is another not to be missed, it's for boaters and non-boaters alike. Every December, they hold the Winterfest Boat Parade. It's one of Fort Lauderdale's, and actually the surrounding areas, most anticipated events. Every December, right around the holidays, going up and down down the intercoastal, there's a dazzling display of boats and yachts decorated with lights and holiday themes. Some years it's been over a mile long of boats just coming down. There's over 1 million spectators that show up just for that. Okay, it's a 12-mile route, but again, sometimes the parade itself is over a mile long. I mean, it's a party atmosphere. I mean, there's music, there's entertainment. We get celebrities showing up. It's truly, it's one of the must-see holiday spectacles here in South Florida and around Fort Lauderdale. You know, kind of our against number two, we've said it in a lot of our other videos, we say it, you know, they say every rose has its thorn. Okay, and in Fort Lauderdale, that thorn can sometimes take the form of traffic congestion and transportation challenges. Now, Fort Lauderdale itself is a very huge, it's a very, very good size area, but if you're talking about getting closer and closer to the beach, okay, transportation becomes a little bit congestion, becomes a little bit of a problem. We talked about it, for example, during the International Yacht Show for that week in October, you have people showing up from all over the place. And it's just, I mean, it just gets very, very congested, okay? And honestly, while Broward County and Fort Lauderdale are doing their best to kind of improve in the public transit options and getting around in a car, especially during those very, very busy times, can be a bit of a hassle in Fort Lauderdale, especially as you're getting closer to the amenities and getting closer to some of the attractions. And of course, the beach. So, you know, I guess one of the other things that we really look at, especially this kind of hits home for us being realtors, but the upscale living and the amenities. I mean, Fort Lauderdale boasts many, many options for upscale living with areas such as Las Olas Isles, Harbor Beach. You can check out some of the other videos that we've done on Las Olas Isles, Harbor Beach, Lauderdale Beach, Coral Ridge, Rio Vista Isles. Those are some to name a few. You know, and while these communities do have a much higher price point, I mean, some of them can be homes up to 10 million plus. They also have very desirable amenities like private marinas, and they have oceanfront and intercoastal locations, as well as direct ocean access for yachts and for larger watercraft. And one of the things that it's becoming very, very important is they also boast gated and 7x24 live security, as well as some of the best and the finest public and private schools in Broward County. Kind of a con, if you will, or an against. I mean, as we said before, every rose has its thorn, and maybe for some, another thorn is crime. Okay, you know, folks, crime rates vary across the country and in different neighborhoods and whatnot. You're going to see at some areas of Fort Lauderdale experience higher levels of crime, which can be concern for residents and visitors alike. Other areas experience much lower areas of crime. I mean, it has its share of crime. I mean, we're going to be completely honest and transparent with you. I mean, it's not as if crime doesn't exist here in South Florida's paradise. Okay, and overall, as you look at across the whole of the piece, overall, the crime rate is a little bit higher than the national average. Now, what we encourage you to do is to go look at niche.com and some of the other websites that we look at for specific areas that you're interested in, and you can get a much more localized, much more focused perspective of what the crime rates are. Okay, now, tourist areas, Fort Lauderdale thrives in tourism. It has for decades. The tourist areas are generally very, very safe. You know, they can attract opportunistic crime like pickpocketing, you know, people kind of trying to break into your car, you know, scams for tourists. But, you know, and you just need to exercise a little bit of caution, okay, a little bit of common sense, especially when the areas are crowded or especially in the evening. But, you know, while the crime is a factor in Fort Lauderdale, overall, many of the areas of the city, you know, it's safe for residents and visitors alike, okay? But like any urban environment, exercising common sense, staying aware of one's surroundings, and taking precautions can help reduce the risk of becoming a victim of crime. Okay. Additionally, as we said before, looking at websites like niche.com, staying informed about local crime trends, okay, working together with law enforcement and community organizations can also contribute to a much safer and a much more pleasant, much more secure neighborhood.
All right, Kevin, something that's dear and near to my heart is the school system. What about the public schools here?
Yeah, Suze, you know, I understand. I mean, this is a conversation you and I have a lot, and this is a conversation that we have with almost every one of our clients that either have school-age children, are contemplating having school-age children, okay, or envision at some point in time having school-age children, or who have friends who have school-age children, okay? The school system down here kind of varies from place to place. And, you know, and I don't want to get into commentary about what's going on with the education system or anything like that, but South Florida as a whole offers a number of alternatives to the public school system. They offer private schools, parochial schools, they have charter schools, magnet schools, all kinds of stuff in there, so that basically parents of school-age children have options around what it is that they would like their children to focus on, what kind of educational requirements, what kind of educational systems, and more importantly, what's the educational style that they like to focus on. Some folks are focusing on the STEM aspect of things, which where the magnet schools come in very, very good, very, very big. Some folks are into the parochial schools, where they want to supplement their education with religious education, which is terrific, and they have options around there. Okay, we have the private schools, which are in some cases they basically have, you can board there for private schools down here. And of course, we also have the charter schools, which are kind of the best way to put that is kind of a halfway between a public school and a private school. So you get some of the benefits of the public school, and you also get some of the smaller class sizes and some of the benefits of the private school. So
they also have the homeschooling option, where they do have groups that get together and do the homeschool.
I should have thought about that, especially with all the stuff that's going on the last couple of years with COVID. So yeah, so basically, there are some options around here, but because there is such amount of variance and such amount of variety of education. Okay, we say, and it's definitely one of the cons or one of the against, and we talk about it every year, and it bears mentioning with every one of our videos. Okay, folks, we live in a subtropical area, and during the months of June through November, it's called hurricane season. And there's a risk of hurricanes. If hurricanes and tropical storms and heavy storms are of concern of yours, okay, then you need to take a look, and you need to be aware of this. Okay. Now, fortunately, we on the East Coast of Florida, of South Florida, have not been hit with anything, and they have an incredible early warning system, and they have incredible escape evacuation routes, and they're very, very good about it. As a matter of fact, I think the last really significant hurricane threat coming through was Irma in 2017, and everybody was ready a week before it showed up, and then at the last minute it swung south and shot over into the Gulf and just kind of pounded the hell out of the west coast of Florida. But here in Fort Lauderdale area, we've been fortunate. We just really haven't had anything. We do get the trailing end of the storms. We get some storm surge. We get a lot of rain. We get a lot of wind. So you're going to be buckling down for a little bit, and you're probably not going to want to go outside or drive during those periods of time. But again, you need to be more. This is one of these instances where awareness and preparation can go miles in mitigating any potential problems. And that wraps up things going for and against in Fort Lauderdale. We hope you found our insights helpful and are one step closer to finding your dream home in South Florida. So if you have any questions about any of these, please feel free to drop us a note, give us a call. You can go ahead and shoot us a little text, give us a little email. You can certainly click on the Calendly link to set up a time where we can chit chat, okay? And if you would, don't forget to subscribe, okay, and click the bell so you get notified whenever we drop a new video out. And please, please, please provide feedback to us. We want to hear it, good, bad, and otherwise. If it's great feedback, terrific, we love it. If there's something that you'd like to see or something that you have a question about, let us know so that we can make sure that we update everybody and make sure that we're candid as we can be.